Hey everyone, welcome back to Unwind, a place where you can sit back and relax, and a place for us to dump whatever's on our minds onto you. Thanks for tuning in, and please don't forget to check out our Patreon page, where our patrons can find the latest episodes first and get exclusive perks that you can't find anywhere else. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kenny.
And let's get into it. Hey Kenny.
How's it going?
Pretty good, Pretty good.
It's been a while.
Nice and sunny out, beautiful British Columbia, BC.
Yeah, you got
British
it.
Columbia, BC.
There you go.
The best place in the world.
Perfect. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Oh, well, had grad.
Grad?
Yeah, I graduated.
Heck yeah.
Kind of.
High five.
Thanks. That was on Saturday. That was fun.
Yeah, you killed it.
Yeah, and you
walking across that
DJ'd,
stage. Yeah,
I didn't stay for that.
Twisted some knobs and pushed some faders. Easy does,
that?
easy says. Yeah.
It was fun.
So now Kenny's moving on to the real world.
Yeah.
He's almost a full-grown adult.
Need to find a job.
Jobs are overrated.
Yeah, I just want to sit at home and do nothing.
Have you ever
make some
considered
sounds.
joining a hippie commune?
I should ask Shane. Shane would probably know.
Yeah, he's 50% of the way there. He lives on a farm, so for all we know, it could be a what?
He moved.
Oh my goodness, I gotta talk to
Yeah.
him. Anyways, so what do we have lined up for today, Kenny?
We have a little something special today.
A little something special, and it's not just Kenny's seductive voice.
It's not.
Maybe the wrong word, but whatever.
What's up?
Today on the podcast, we have a guest.
Another guest?
Another one, yeah.
Wow.
A guest wasn't a one-time feature. This is going to be a thing that we do occasionally.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine? What a day to be alive.
Right.
Okay,
Who
so
do we have with us?
today, with us in the studio, we have the one and only Futch.
What's up?
Futch?
How are
boys
you?
doing? I'm doing pretty great.
Good to hear.
I'm glad to be on the podcast. I got my haircut specifically for this podcast.
So good.
I don't think you know how podcasts work, Futch.
No, but we got those promo shots. So now
that's
you're going
right.
to look fly in those promo shots.
Right.
You're set. We also definitely had plans to do like more photography, but between the two of us and our two cameras, guess how many we brought?
0.
None. That's
You've got
correct.
iPhones, though.
So I guess we could have brought 4 cameras, but instead we brought 2.
Mm-hmm. I was going to bring my next camera, and then I forgot.
Where does this podcast go? Like, who distributes it? Is it on Spreaker? Is it on
We
It's
use
everywhere.
Buzzsprout.
Buzzsprout? And
Yeah.
does that distribute to a bunch of different
Yeah,
platforms?
goes
So we're
everywhere.
on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, YouTube,
Yeah.
Spotify.
Spotify.
I don't believe you. These microphones, they look like they're not even plugged in, guys. I think this is all just in your heads.
This is definitely not just recorded on my iPhone.
No?
This is
Okay.
just our imagination. We just do this for fun.
Gotcha.
You guys run a real tight ship around here.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Live from Studio B.
Live.
Live.
Live and direct. This is the unedited, uncut, unwind.
Unedited?
Unedited.
What do you
Unedited?
call it when it's the edited version? What do you say when you've done editing? You just say, hey, Kenny,
I
I
say,
edited it?
welcome to the podcast, and then I just cut to us talking so that nobody has to know that it was edited.
Yeah.
You know? That's the sneaky part, is no one has to know it was edited because you take out the part where you say it was edited because it's edited.
I just love the way you say edited.
Is
Edited?
there a right way or a wrong way to say edited?
There isn't. It's just, it always blows my mind that this is a sentence in English. I edited it. I love that. Or if your
Thank
buddy
you.
edits something, edited it. That's a legit sentence in the English language, and I like that. Edited it.
Edited.
it.
Where is
That's
it?
fantastic.
Edited it.
I need to make a friend named Ed now, literally just for that.
100%.
I have an Uncle Ed. He's in Calgary.
Oh, hold
Well-
on. I'm just getting a Craigslist potential buyer is
Oh.
blowing up my phone.
Oh, man.
Let me just. Oh, this is really. This is terrible timing,
That's okay.
isn't it?
What you selling?
What's the? It's a snare stand, an upright marching snare stand, that I didn't really ever need, and now I'm selling it. What's the address here?
Nimbus?
Here, I'll just tell her.
Nimbus Road.
Nimbus Road.
In British Columbia, BC. Canada.
238 East 2nd.
2, 3. Yeah, I'll just get her to come by my place later
Yo,
and grab that snare stand that I never really needed.
have I ever mentioned on the podcast how much I love that the word Canada and the word banana are so closely affiliated?
No.
Because it's like pretty much like Canada, and then bananas Banancana.
I love how you had to think about that. at
I
the
know.
end. He's really.
The second part of Canada and banana are the same.
I thought you were gonna start breaking out into song.
Canada banana.
Dude, that's bars right there. Freestyle.
Free.
Totally. Hey, I got some questions for you guys right off the hop here.
Okay, okay, hit us.
Is it the Unwind podcast with Christian and Kenny, or the Unwind podcast with Kenny and Christian, and why? Who gets first billing and who gets last billing? What is
Neither.
better?
It's neither.
It's neither.
It's neither.
It's Unwind with Chris and Kenny.
So why
Boom.
not Kenny and Chris?
Alphabetical.
Oh, nice. That's very diplomatic.
Yeah.
Both first and last name alphabetical.
S. Whoa.
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 Okay,
Layers.
podcast over. That's too much info for one day. Hey, I'm so old. I remember when they were called.
Hey, I didn't say it. You said it.
I know. I remember when they were called Sarah and Tegan instead of Tegan and Sarah, and then they changed their name, and everybody's like, "What? That's crazy."
I'm
And
so
now I
young,
can't
I don't
imagine.
even know who they are.
You don't-
What?
You're so young, you don't even know who they are. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All my references go over people's heads now,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing that makes me okay with that is knowing that it'll happen to you guys one day too, and you'll get old, and that makes me feel good.
I'm already feeling that.
Are you?
I worked as a youth worker, so as like a kind of preliminary, not licensed counselor for like
Oh, cool.
young teens, and they'd be like, "Yo," and they'd say something, and I'd be like, "That's pretty cool." And as a 20-year-old, that's kind of a hit to the pride, already not really understanding some of the lingo,
Right.
and so. I feel like it happens earlier than most people are willing to admit, but
You're
it's
right.
not until you get older that your pride is willing to stoop enough for you to actually admit that you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You
It
know?
gets worse, I think. It just gets progressively worse. Where are
definitely.
you guys from?
I'm from Kamloops, BC.
Kamloops, Dean Mars' old hood.
Yes, sir. The one and
Slowly.
only. We hung out when we were
Jeremy, too.
young.
And Jeremy, you're right. Jeremy
whole
Patch,
crew.
Dean Mar.
Yeah.
All the best come out of Kamloops.
Crew.
I'm from Vernon.
Learn and represent. Wow. We're all from small redneck towns.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you from?
Cranbrook.
Ooh,
Mm.
Yeah.
you're like next level small
Yeah,
redneck
we have
town.
a winner. We have a winner, ladies and gentlemen. Those guys just they just stood down when they heard that. They're like, "Oh yeah,
Oh.
what town are you from?" As soon as I said, they're like, "Kate,
Oh.
you win. No need to get nasty, pal."
Like it's so small that I'm not actually 100% sure I know where it is.
Well, we know where you are.
Exactly.
Like
That's
I'm
all that matters.
a little bit scared right now, but like it's totally fine. Like, a little bit scared.
It's the key city of the Kootenays. Not that
Oh,
that means anything, but
I know where
do you know
the
where
Kootenays
Kimberly
are.
is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Kimberly. Yeah,
My
Oh,
grade 7
sweet.
teacher's from Kimberly.
Oh, cool.
Any of our American audience is going to be like, what the actual heck are they talking about?
Oh yeah, right. We're getting pretty local here.
Pretty local, yeah.
Let's go back to mainstream. I got another question. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, we're getting interviewed today.
What
right?
it's the day after Game of Thrones season 8 premiere yesterday.
Oh.
What did you think?
Pretty intense.
I didn't watch it.
You didn't
Oh,
watch
what?
it?
I-
Kenny!
How dare you?
Kenny!
How dare you?
How dare you?
I'm like Alan. I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
How
you haven't ever
dare
watched
you?
Game of
I've
Thrones?
watched the first season and then kind of forgot about it.
Kenny. The scoring for Game of Thrones is some of my favorite in any TV show.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I was into it.
I'm not like a big fantasy guy except for like sci-fi. Like obviously I grew up on Star Wars and stuff, but
Nice.
I love Game of Thrones. It's really good.
The
Star
storyline is
Wars.
fantastic.
Have you seen the new trailer?
I did.
How do you feel about that?
So this could be a podcast in and of itself.
Right.
So I'm sorry everybody out there. This is gonna really divide the crowd here, but I hated the last movie, The Last Jedi. That is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
And I really like the new trailer. So it gives me a new hope.
Oh!
All right. I'm out. You guys have been great. Yeah, no, I thought that trailer was better than the last movie. But here's my dilemma. So I want to let the Disney franchise know how they let us all down by not. I vowed I'd never go to another Star Wars movie after the last one. But now I'm kind of interested. So do I stick to my game plan?
No, not worth it.
Just go to the movie.
Go to the movie.
Like a fan, like a normal fan.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
train back on the tracks. Forget The Last Jedi.
Or you could still stick it to the man and watch the movie and just pirate it after it comes out.
That's true. So many options here.
So many
Yeah.
options.
Did you see Solo?
I did not. So maybe
That was a
that-
good. No, that was a good
No.
choice. That was a
Yeah.
good choice.
I hear mixed reviews on it, but
Yeah.
There shouldn't be mixed reviews. It was bad.
Was it? Yeah.
It was bad.
I saw a bit of it on Netflix, but I lost the whole, because I was 7 years old when the first Star Wars came out, so that was my jam, right? And let's be honest, I mean, there's only really 1.5-2 good Star Wars movies collectively anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's this amazing untarnished franchise or anything, but
That's because 3 of the Star Wars movies can all be summed down to the same storyline, so they kind of count as one.
Yeah.
that's true. There's that too.
So-
yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think of the series? What's the best one? What's the worst one?
Depends on what you're referring to. Because storyline-wise, like, the original trilogy is fantastic. But as the younger generation growing up on, like, the second, third episodes, the fight scenes in them are unparalleled in the original trilogy.
Right.
Attack of the Clones and whatever the third one's called.
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the
Revenge of the
Sith.
Sith.
Revenge of the Sith especially. Like, it's a cinematic masterpiece for a person who loves explosions and, like, lightsaber fights. It's fantastic.
It's the best of the prequels.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
If you guys haven't seen on YouTube, someone translated the whole third movie into Chinese, translated it back into English, and then redubbed the whole thing. It's hilarious. It's called Star War, the Third, Backstroke of the West or something like that. It's pretty funny.
So it just gets lost in translation twice?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's
Because, you know,
beautiful.
at the end when Vader's like, no! It got translated back into do not want.
better.
It's so much
It's an improvement.
Like,
It's so
honestly,
good.
it's so much more accurate now.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't 100% sure what he was thinking before, but now we know.
Wow, that would be interesting to see. Maybe they can salvage some of those. What was the guy that played Darth Vader? Some of his-
James Earl Jones.
No. The second.
Or
second
Hayden Christensen.
good Vancouver
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
Yo.
they can salvage some of his performances. Sorry if you're listening, Hayden.
Have you heard about the Jar Jar actor?
Oh,
What
yeah.
about him?
He just recently released, like, some press stuff and kind of blew up a bit
Mm-hmm.
about how the hate on Jar Jar almost made that actor commit suicide because he
Yeah.
took it personally, and it was
No
his
way.
first big role.
Wow. Yeah.
So, like-
I could see that. There
Like,
was
he's
a
so
lot of-
excited to be in Star Wars and then just gets all this
Right.
hate.
And like Rose, and then in the last
Yeah,
one
exactly.
too, right? You can't.
Yeah.
It's
She
hard
deleted
to,
all her social media just
Really?
to get away from everything.
It's
Wow.
a tough one because I mean, obviously, you know, there's no way you should be making people feel that bad that they're gonna feel like committing suicide. Obviously, but I get how fans get angry when things don't go the way they want, and they
Oh,
got
for
to take
sure.
that anger out on somebody. And unfortunately, they can't separate the actor from the character.
Exactly.
Right?
And also, like, the script from the actor. Because if an actor's given a bad character, how much can they do with that?
100%.
Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about it, especially in a franchise like that. It's got really nothing to do with them.
Definitely.
It's all the writing and the directing.
Yeah.
Because if you think, like, Jar Jar, like, just look at the character in and of himself. Like, how many directions could you take that, right?
Right.
Like, if they want this, like, weird, quirky, a little bit stupid character, like, I feel like in and of being a weird, stupid, quirky character in, like, an adventure, almost, like, a bit more serious sci-fi story, like, no matter what, he's going to sort of stick out.
It was a weird place for him to be to begin with.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the theory of the Jar Jar is the Sith Lord?
Yeah.
Do you support that?
I love it
It
so
makes him
much.
so much more
It's
interesting.
so cool. It saves that whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, so the other rumor is that is the truth, and George Lucas bailed on it because of the backlash
That would be.
from the character.
But
But
that
that'd
would have
be
been
wild.
was his
so
original.
good.
It's so good.
We'll get George Lucas on the podcast as our next
Yeah,
guest.
would
No,
you
we can
mind?
ask him. Yeah, no, we'll get right on it.
Okay.
Well, I also heard that J.J. Abrams, the director of the newest one that's
Yeah.
coming out, actually consulted with George Lucas to see how he would wrap it up and everything, get his input,
As you
which
should.
is really
man.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first two movies, they were like, we're not talking to George Lucas,
Why would
right?
I don't get it? You don't have to listen to everything he says,
Yeah.
but just take his
Because
his input.
it's his baby.
It's his baby.
It's his vision.
Yeah.
So see what he has to say, and maybe it's
Straight up.
awesome.
And given that he made the last couple, it probably is. Like, he's got a pretty good reputation under his
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah, totally.
He-
Hey, is my mic a little bit hot? Does it sound hot to you guys?
A little bit, but I think you're totally fine.
be fine.
You weren't clipping in there, so you're fine.
Okay,
You're good to
good.
go.
What if we go in and it's all just clipped?
Then it's fine. That's
It's
just
fine.
the style that we'll go for.
Yeah.
I'll just blame the recording school you guys went to. Just kidding. Joking. Okay, back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
What did you think?
You want to know my first takeaway?
Yeah.
I noticed that I hadn't watched the very last episode of season 7. And I was like, there's a couple things that really don't make sense right now.
Yeah.
So I went back and I quickly I found a recap and then I watched it. So I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense.
You're like, wait, ice dragon, wall. Sorry, spoiler alerts ahead, behind.
It's fine. We'll put out a little warning today so that when it comes out, then people will be prepared.
It's all spoilers.
Also, if you haven't watched it with it being out like a week or two, that's on you, not on us.
That's true. How long does it take for you guys to get the podcast out, like after today?
This one will be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's always 2 weeks.
Cool.
Because we have a couple in the backup bank in case
Yeah.
something happens and we can't record.
Good call.
Because we can't let down the fan.
You can't.
You can't.
I said fan as if we only have one person who listens.
Yep, it's my mom.
Thanks, your mom. And then on the weeks that they consult our
I
moms.
feel like which one should listen to this week?
If your moms are listening, then I'm definitely not swearing.
Nice.
Hi, moms.
Good call. Good call.
I'm gonna try not to anyway.
You know what?
I might slip up. Spoiler alert.
It's okay.
Cool.
Okay, here's your question. What did you think about it? You never told us that.
Yeah, so I was really excited for it, like everybody else, and I thought, I honestly, I was a little let down. I didn't think anything really happened,
Not really.
but I understand that they're setting up a bunch of stuff, and I get that. But I mean, there's only 6 episodes. They've only got 5 left now, and kind of nothing happened.
Apparently, they're supposed to get longer, though.
Yeah.
So,
They are,
the last couple episodes are going to be like an hour and a half or something, which is ridiculous.
Still, I think the last 10 minutes was pretty exciting, but up until then, it was very set-up-y. What I did like, though, spoilers ahead. This whole episode is just spoiler alert central.
Oh, yeah. We'll call it spoiler episode.
Actually, I'll try and keep it non-spoiler. I did find out they set a bunch of tension between a bunch of characters that I really didn't expect. And so that's probably a good move because otherwise it was looking like good guys, like everybody's a good guy versus the White Walkers.
Yeah.
And now it looks like there's going to be a bunch of divisions. So you don't know who's going to really ally with each other.
Which is going to make
pretty
it
cool.
all more difficult when the White Walkers really do show up.
Exactly.
Yo, talking about Game of Thrones and Star Wars, I can draw relations between this last episode and the last Star Wars movie because I believe that the last Star Wars movie was a lot of setup for the one that's about to come.
You think so?
I think so. I think a lot of the things that transpired could be resolved and made actually better if they really nail this next movie.
So you're saying that the Canto Blight was actually a real setup for
I don't want to talk about that one, but some of the other events.
the green milk was actually a real big setup for
Yeah. It's given.
The-
Wait,
the-
Luke died. That was the setup. It actually killed Luke. That was what killed Luke. It wasn't the Force. It was the green milk.
It was the green milk. Yeah, maybe that would make a lot of sense.
Boom. New theory.
Oh, I hate that movie so much. sorry, people out there. It's the worst.
If you're one of the actors, we don't hate you personally. We just hate the movie.
was
We can
so
separate the
long.
actors from the characters.
And if you're one of the script writers, this is on you.
yeah,
It's 100% on you.
100%.
Yo, so we have this one important question that we ask all our guests
Yeah.
Okay.
on the podcast that we really need to ask you.
What if I refuse?
Well,
Then we'll
that's the end.
edit you out of this episode. What's your favorite dog?
Like breed or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or any dog that you know that you like.
pretty fire.
Names are good.
I love dogs. I love animals. I don't really have like a favorite dog. I just love every single dog. Oh, like I'm gonna say yellow lab.
Nice.
Classic.
Or is that what it is? A yellow lab or a golden retriever? Maybe
Yeah.
I'm getting those two confused.
I think they're very similar. One's just
Yeah.
long hair, one's short hair, and they're both happy boys.
They're both happy boys. Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, I think it's the yellow lab I'm thinking of, but whatever. Either way, those seem like extra nice dogs.
They are.
But I think dogs are pretty awesome to begin with. I love animals. They're awesome. And I can't believe how cruel we are to animals still in
Yeah.
2019. There's so much cruelty to animals and people, but I don't. That doesn't bother me as much as the animals. I don't know why.
It's
Does that make me a psychopath?
I think
or
it's
a
because-
sociopath.
I think it's because humans
Something?
are so much more easily able to defend ourselves and understand.
Right.
Where animals, they
So
truly never will
defenseless.
understand what.
What's
occurred,
going on? Yeah,
right?
right. I think that's it. But yeah, I love animals. They're awesome. Love dogs. Love cats. I didn't used to be. You know how people say you're either a dog person or you're a cat person. You have to pick sides.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a dog in the place that I live, so I got a cat, and then I went to get it. He was in a box with his brother, so I was like, "All right,
Nice.
bag him up. I'm taking them both."
Nice.
So now I'm a cat person.
Cats are nice.
But
I feel like you need to develop a relationship with cats, and you become a cat person when you get a cat. No one's a cat person before they have a cat.
yeah, I didn't have a cat when I was a kid, and I had a dog, so I was just sort of default dog. But
Yeah.
I love them both. They're so different. Like
Yeah.
cats are just like, "Who are you? Where's the food?" And dogs are like, "You are my hero. You can do
Yeah.
anything you want to do."
Straight up.
Right?
That's why students need dogs, because we have very little you can do whatever you want to do ourselves, because we're all just sad all the time. So then the dog shows up and they're like, "I believe in you," and you're like, "Sweet," because I don't. But then the dog's there for you, so it's like the perfect student pet. You know?
Do you? Is this like your first time away from home? Did you guys just graduate recently before you came here?
No.
No?
I moved out here a while ago.
You know you're old when you forget how many years. It was
Yeah.
a while ago.
Okay.
I graduated from high school, came out here, did a bachelor's degree at UBC.
Cool.
So I did that for 4 years. Took a couple of years off and then came here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to do, or what are you still going to do based on that education?
Going into university, I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I also considered that, but
Teacher here. That's why that's a funny joke.
But
yeah.
yeah,
No, it's just
after
great.
after my first year, I was like, don't really think that's for me. So I just finished out my degree, got a BA in theater and creative writing.
Cool. So now you're a creative writer.
Yeah.
that's why he does all our writing on the podcast, and I just edit everything.
You like to say edit.
Edit, yeah.
That's the word of the
It's
day.
it's a good word.
What do you have to do writing wise, Kenny, to do this?
It was mostly just I had just different courses I could take. I did script writing, I did nonfiction, I did poetry, I did comic. But for the podcast, it's mostly all
Hey,
the
what's up?
posts.
Oh, okay, right.
He wrote our intro.
Oh, you
That
wrote the
was
intro.
me.
Do you research guests and ask write questions too?
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I guess we'll find out
We
pretty
gotta
soon.
got to get in there for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's set. I also moved out 3 years ago. So I took 2 years in a different degree. I was doing counseling for 2 years.
Wow, that's so cool.
And then I was like, nah, why would I deal with my feelings when I can write songs about my feelings?
That's true. You know what I think it is? I think maybe you guys will pursue those careers, but you're so young, you haven't lived yet. You don't want to just get in the grind of having a real adult job. You want to live your lives first, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Because those are both interesting fields you've followed. So
Oh,
I
for
don't think
sure.
that's the problem.
I always stood by my idea that I'm like, so if I have like 24 hours a day and I'm going to just be spending like 8+ hours at a certain vocation or doing a certain thing,
Right.
no matter what it is, I want to enjoy that.
Definitely.
Because if I'm going to spend like almost a third of my life doing something, I better enjoy that. And so,
I think it's really crucial unless the money is so good that you can just do the money thing for 10 or 20 years and then peace out and then do whatever you want to do.
yeah, you got to be making bank to
You got to
work for a
make a
company.
huge
Yeah.
bank
Yeah.
to make that worthwhile, right? So a lot of people, a lot of students over the years, I've heard similar stories where they go to UBC and then they're like, I hate this, or not now, and then they want to be young and make music and make art.
I think the only way that you can really do that, though, is business. Because, like, business, entrepreneurship is the only place that you can bring in, like, big money quickly. Because even a, like, doctor or lawyer, they make really good wages, like 150, like, general practitioner doctor makes $250,000 a year on average in in BC, which is ridiculous. But that's still not retire at 35 money, right?
Freedom 35, yeah.
Whereas
Plus you got to pay off all your schooling.
Yeah.
exactly, which as a doctor is a lot.
That's a lot.
Whereas a businessman, even like you go like an undergrad, you know, you can pay that off if you're smart during, like if you're really smart with your summers, you can pay off your student loans. You just got to be willing to work, and then you come out, and if you really grind and you really look at areas that need it, you can make money quick. You just have to be willing to put the time and effort in.
Right.
So that's my backup plan. If I don't make it as a musician, I'm just gonna go become a millionaire as a businessman.
That's a solid backup plan.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, just casual.
You hearing this, parents? These are really, really well thought out, time tested. So, A, rock star, B, app developer / entrepreneur. How could this not work in your favor in the next 6 months?
Exactly.
There's no way. There's
Exactly.
no way it can't work.
Right?
I figure if I just, you know, bash my head against a success wall for long enough, it'll crack sooner or later.
Yeah, the wall or your head, one of them are cracked. It doesn't matter.
Like, I feel like currently it's closer to my head, but like I'm believing that that's gonna crack before me.
I think that's a good attitude to have. Though you do it now while you're young. Like go for whatever you really want to go for, and then you can have a stable backup plan later if you want.
Might as well.
Although some people say, and this is not me by the way, but some people say if you ditch the backup plan, then you become more committed to the plan and your chances of success increase because there's no going back.
You know what I think about that? Is I think that that's just poor planning. Because
I think so, too.
actually doing stuff about your backup plan is when you lose commitment to the main plan. But I think in your mind, having ideas of what you'd want to do is just thinking ahead.
I agree. I think it's too crazy to just have one plan, but I do appreciate the sentiment of if your tunnel vision is only on that, then that's what your brain's going to do. That's what the universe is going to respond to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why
Yeah.
That's why I refuse to get hand tattoos until after I know I've made it in the music industry.
Did you hear me tell my hand tattoo story? Because that's what I was going to say.
No. Hit us. We're ready.
So the story I was going to tell about that is I remember in the 90s, remember that band, The Prodigy? You're probably too young.
Yeah.
But there was this sort of industrial
I know.
techno band called The Prodigy. The side note, the lead singer just committed suicide like a month ago, which is really
rest in
random.
peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. But the other guy, the main songwriter guy, when he was young, like when they first started off the band, he tattooed his hands so that he couldn't get a regular job. Like he couldn't work at a bank or he couldn't do anything, you know. I think nowadays you probably could do that anyway. It wouldn't matter. But back in those days, if you got hand tattoos, you were really committing to the thing. And it worked for them. So I thought, what a great story. That's awesome. But imagine how many people with hand tattoos from the 90s are out there that their band didn't take off. And they're like, yeah, that's not a solid plan at all.
So he started the whole idea of these SoundCloud rappers getting face tattoos so that they can't get.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Because if you look at 6ix9ine, I'm not saying all face tattoos mean you can't get a job, but if you got a giant 6ix9ine on your forehead and Jigsaw from the Saw series on your cheek, I feel like that does limit your options outside of entertainment industry.
Yep, for sure.
Even outside of music, can you imagine him trying to be an actor? It's a very niche role.
Yeah. Somebody else was saying that about, you lose acting gigs because of the tattoos.
Have you seen Ben Affleck's big back tattoo?
No.
It's very interesting.
Bad? Is it bad?
It's pretty bad. I'm not 100% sure what it is.
That's bad.
It's just a bunch of images.
I mean, your back isn't bad. He can wear
You can, like, how many roles are you getting that your back is showing?
Right.
Plus, with CG now, they can really take tattoos off, but you got to blow up before they start doing that stuff.
It's a big phoenix.
Phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeehaw.
It's
I've never seen Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't know what he's like in that role. I haven't seen it.
He was all right. Not my favorite.
I just didn't
Sorry, Ben.
his suit. Really ruined it for me because it never felt like Batman-y enough. It felt too like superhero when they all have their spandex, where he was always being like, armor because he's just a regular dude, right? And this last one just didn't feel armored enough for me until he fought Superman, and then it was Iron Man, and then that felt bad to me too. So it's like, can we have a nice in between in there somewhere?
His cowl was my favorite of all the movie cowls. Though. I like the little ears.
Oh, okay.
Just baby
Is that
ears.
called a cowl?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
That makes superheroes
Cowl, I mean.
notably less cool. So like, let me just grab my cowl.
I need to keep
Well,
my
what are you going to say?
identity secret.
Hat? Let me grab my bat hat.
Honestly, on
That
that,
makes it worse.
I don't think I have a better answer for that. What's a cool sounding name for a headpiece? I mask, I guess.
Headpiece? Is that a good one?
No.
Mask, yeah, mask. But it's
Let
not
me just
really a
get my
mask. 'Cause
costume.
a mask has one job, cover your face. The cowl doesn't really cover your face. It covers your eyes. It's a maybe that is a mask. An eye mask?
Or what did they use in like masquerades? Just like a
Masks?
yeah.
Nice.
I'll go now.
You know what I think is weird too is how fast they remake movies. Like I was still cool with the old Batman. Why do we need a new Batman? How many Spider-Mans have there been in the last 10 or 15 or 20 years?
3, 4?
3 live
That's
action
insane
ones.
to me.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Every 5 minutes there's a new Spider-Man. What's going on with that?
Although the newest Spider-Man is my favorite.
Yeah.
He's
it?
the best mix of both Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Andrew Garfield was a good Spider-Man, horrible Peter Parker.
Oh, okay.
Tobey Maguire was a
Too
great
old.
Hey, I'm right here.
Tobey Maguire was a great Peter Parker, but his Spider-Man wasn't the greatest.
He's got a
Although Spider-Man 2,
His
the
quips were
best.
really good.
Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie. Yeah.
Interesting perspective. But now he's dead, so we don't have to worry about it.
spoiler alert.
That movie came out months ago. I feel like we're okay.
Do you have episode titles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Oh, sorry, I hit my mic. We can edit that out. You can edit that out. I edited it.
Edited it.
This episode potential episode titles are spoiler alert. I thought that's too.
All our
common.
episode titles are questions, though.
Oh, spoiler alert? Question mark.
Yeah.
I edited it. Question
I
mark?
edited
I
it.
edited it.
Yeah, because that way it makes people interested. They're like, wait, what is the answer? Is Christian singing? What's
Tune in
going on?
next time.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No, not really. Especially how I was singing in the last episode. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't amazing.
Hey, I have some more questions for you guys.
All right.
We also have
And then
questions.
we have
I know
questions for
I
you.
know you do, but I'm really holding up your questions with my questions. Must be super annoying. Do you play any instruments or DJ, or what got you interested in Nimbus and recording and music and all that stuff?
You go first, Kenny. I feel like your answer's shorter than mine.
It is shorter. Growing up, I played piano, but that stopped. I mostly came to Nimbus because the post-production program
Oh, right.
was interesting to me. I'm not really big into making music. Engineering was kind of eye-opener for me.
Awkward.
Yeah. But when I got to the post and game section of this term, it was great. Everything just started to make sense to me.
Oh, great.
But yeah, not really music guy for me. But yeah, I am trying to be a voice actor also.
Oh, cool.
So
Real good at it.
That's
I was
great.
like, engineering would be good to make my audition sound better, learn how to record.
Definitely.
So that's why I took the 8-month fast track,
Right.
because the production side of it for music didn't really interest me.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, that's why I came to Nimbus.
Are you trying to get voice acting work, or are you also interested in doing post?
Both, yeah.
Okay, because there's a guy that hires a lot of our good Nimbus students, so I can give you his contact info.
Yeah,
We're
you want.
set. Boom.
that'd be
Spoiler
great.
alert.
Come on, Kenny. Go off.
Job.
Go
What
off.
about you?
I started playing music when I was really young, like 6 or 7.
Cool.
Started with piano. Did that for years. I still play. Pretty good by now.
Woo,
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
pretty great.
good.
I play level 9 Royal Conservatory.
Is that a good thing? That sounds pretty
There's
good.
only 10 levels, and then you get like your performance or teaching degree.
I'm level 11.
Go
Nice.
off.
Royal Conservative. Yeah, they had to make another. They had to
Just
make
for
another
you.
level just for me.
It's called level
Why didn't they
Futch.
just make 10 better? Mine goes to 11. Do you guys get that reference?
I don't.
This is what it's like all day long in my classes. I'm just spitting out gold '90s gold humor, and it's just going.
We'll target this
everybody's heads.
episode to an older audience, a longer around audience,
I'd appreciate it.
and then they'll understand all your jokes.
Yeah, long
I
as it
understand some of your jokes.
is. Okay, good.
That's because
Yeah.
you're also old.
I'm
Wow.
not that
Shots
old.
fired.
You're pretty old.
I'm turning 26.
Wow, you had a good run.
I know.
You still have a
It's
year
downhill. Downhill from here.
What is like the age that all the famous artists die?
left. 27.
27. Yeah, you had
Yeah,
a
so I have one more year.
With a white Bic lighter in their pockets.
Nice.
27's also when, if you're into this stuff, is when Saturn is in the same place as it was when you were born. It's called Saturn's Return.
Dude.
So Tool wrote a song about it. Shout out to Tool if you're listening.
Nice.
Dave Genn knows Tool.
Oh.
Shout out to Dave Genn if
Go
you're
off,
listening.
Dave.
Yeah, so that I think Saturn's Return either means things are going to really go your way or really not go your way. But I think usually it's a good thing.
I would love it if I could be successful before 27, because that's still a ways off for me.
Right. How old are you?
I'm 21.
Whoa.
I am a child.
baby.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
straight up.
That's cool.
So, yeah, but to finish answering your question, started playing piano. Did that for a long time. Picked up bass, picked up guitar, started recording, started singing like maybe 2 years after doing that. Did recording. I started in grade 11, 12. I don't recall exactly. Writing really, really bad stuff.
Right.
Like
Of
I'll
course,
listen to it
as you
now
do.
and it's just really bad,
Oh,
just
course.
straight up. And so did that for a couple years. I kind of stopped all my music stuff pretty much when I started my other degree. Just didn't have time for it. And then it was during my last summer, I was working up north in the oil patch up in Grand Prairie.
Whoa.
And when I got back, I was like, okay, what do I want to do with my little bit of free time that I had? And I was just like, I should just write some stuff. And I started writing beats again and
Cool.
really was enjoying it. And I kind of got a wake-up call on like what I am and what I do and what I associate with. And I was like, I'm a musician. And so then like a month before school started, a month before September, I just looked up music schools in BC. And this was one of the two options that I found that actually looked interesting. So then I called the school and was like, you got room? And they were like, sure. So then I just showed up. Never been to the school a day before. I learned of it like a month before I actually got here.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And so,
It's a whim.
yeah, kind of just like a impulse decision. I'm quite an impulsive person
Oh, yeah.
naturally. So stuff like this isn't uncommon, but this is probably the biggest impulse decision I've made.
That's a big impulse decision.
Yeah, halfway
Wow.
through degree.
That's cool. Well,
And
you
so-
must be happy about that decision, yeah?
I love it. I love it
Great.
here. I love doing this.
That's awesome.
So I think my like logical side, sometimes it's just like sitting back there like, what are you doing? How you want to make money at some point in your life? What are you doing? But then the rest of my brain is like, no, but you like it.
Yeah. I think you're right to
You're just
listen
gonna
to
be
that side.
broken happy, man. And then like the last 10% of my brain is just like squeezing, just adding that little bit of stress that's necessary to really put out good work. You know.
What kind of music do you make these days?
Kind of mainly two main genres. I do like a lot of like dubstep, heavier kind of dub trap hybrid.
Right.
And then I still write like a lot of hip hop beats and stuff because I was doing that for a while, really working with a lot of rappers and stuff. But now mainly I just do beats and kind of R&B stuff just to practice writing, like songwriting and vocals, both singing and kind of rapping.
Give me
But
a
I'm
beat.
not a rapper.
Give me a beat right now. Let's give these people what they want.
Yeah,
Go.
Chris.
Yeah. 2019. Yeah. Old money up in this piece. Unwind. Yeah. It's not about freestyling. It's about sounding like you're gonna freestyle at any second, like this. 2019. Out.
Boom.
One too many hi-hats. Edit
Easy.
the last one out.
I got it.
How did those
I
guys
got
even
it.
do that?
Easy.
That must have been a pre-write.
Oh
Wow.
no,
That was
not at all.
amazing.
We're set. Yo, on the note of dubstep, you write some music. You have a music project that you call Dystopian Soundscapes, and you describe yourself as ambient dub techno. Tell us about that.
You guys have done your homework. That's good. So it's funny that you say speaking of dubstep because that's the opposite of dub. and dub techno, which is what I'm interested in.
Oh, dang.
But unfortunately, so I'm gonna have to go back in time here. I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but I'm a bit of a storyteller.
Nice.
So
We're
gonna have
ready.
to
We're
rewind the
set.
clock a little bit here.
Rewind.
So
Unwind the clock.
unwind the clock.
Wow.
See what you did there, people? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. 2019
Smash.
style.
Smash it.
And head on over to dystopiansoundscapes.com while you're at it.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. We'll tag you.
Yeah, so dubstep. So the original dubstep in Britain in the 90s, or is it not like late 90s
Yeah.
maybe?
OG dub.
Is sort of a combination of like glitchy, noisy stuff mixed with like two-step. So it's like this sort of hybrid combo that came late in the 90s after all the big second wave of the electronic explosion. So there was the first wave of electronica was in the 80s, I guess, with techno and house. Then the second wave was in the 90s, which on top of techno and house, you got stuff like jungle, drum and bass, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then sort of the tail end of that, they started creating this music called dubstep, which was like two-step and ambient and noisy stuff.
Are you referring to like like Rusko, Casper
So
era?
this is authentic dubstep, like Burial and stuff like that.
Nice.
So then when it came across the pond to United States, especially with Skrillex, it turned into this thing called bro step.
Yeah.
Which was like the Americanized. It doesn't sound anything like original dubstep.
It's a very different genre, definitely.
Totally different genre. And it's a cool genre, but it's very different from dubstep. So there's that. So that's like this, now dubstep, bro step is one of the biggest genres of music on the planet, maybe second to trap now or something. Speaking of that, we got to talk about Old Town Road at some point. Right?
Yeah. What a legendary
Great
track.
song. So anyway, the stuff I make is more influenced by dub techno, which was invented in the 90s by some Germans who
Nice.
took Jamaican dub music and made it with electronic instruments. So again, we're going to rewind the clock to the late 60s. In Jamaica, they were doing instrumental versions of songs. I think they were just doing regular mixes of songs, and somebody forgot to unmute the vocals, and so they ended up creating these instrumentals with tape delays and spring reverbs, boom, doo, ka, doo, doom, doo, ka, 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 that kind of stuff. And they'd have these parties every weekend, so they'd make these instrumental versions of these reggae songs. And they'd play them and then drop in the regular version. So the crowd would whip the crowd into a frenzy with these instrumental dub versions, and then they drop the hammer with the real track. So
Nice.
dub music became wildly popular. Spring reverb and space echo tape delays. So then these German guys started doing that in the 90s with drum machines and synthesizers. So I was influenced by that, and then of course I had to go back to the roots and hear how it started in Jamaica with original dub stuff. So
Interesting.
yeah.
What a unique like background take on the genre. A lot of people don't really think back like that. They just are like, "Hey, this sounds cool. I'm gonna make it."
Right. I think it's funny with dub techno. It's this real sliver of a genre that most people have never heard of.
Definitely.
But the people who have heard of it are addicted like vinyl fans. Like it's a really growing, passionate, committed community. And like a lot of great styles of music, like dub techno per se is kind of like a bunch of genres of music where it's really only one song just done over and over and over again, kind of like reggae. And I say that in a good way. Like there's really just one reggae song and it's awesome and 1,000 people do it. Or like AC/DC, they've got 20 albums, one song, right? Like it's good.
Oh yeah.
And so I think dub techno is like that too. It's got these certain things. It's got chords, kick drum, hi-hat, lots of reverb and delay, noise. And those are the basics. But I think now there's a bunch of people doing that stuff, which is amazing, and that's my favorite stuff. But now, because it's been almost 20 years, it's starting to shift out into different genres, and it's starting to merge with more modern sounds. And so I think if I was a better musician, I would make traditional dub techno. But because I kind of don't know what I'm doing at all in life in any aspect, I try to make dub techno, and I end up making this bastardized offshoot of it, which sounds okay to me.
Hey, at the same time, like, isn't that part of the creative process that
100%.
everyone's song is going to sound different, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Given the same
Yeah,
content.
I probably shouldn't be aiming to
Oh, yeah, definitely.
cookie cutter music, but ironically, that's what I'm trying to do.
Ironically, cookie cutter music sells, which is just the way that it is, right?
Right. Well, I don't think dub techno cookie cutter music sells, but yes, usually that's the case.
It's so funny. I always used to bash like house music, and I was like, it's all the same. All like 128, same drum pattern,
Right.
same like kind of overdone leads and stuff. And that was until I started DJing again, and I downloaded my like dubstep library and realized that 95% of my tracks were at 75 BPM, and that's when I stopped really talking out against house music, because I realized that we're all really in the same boat.
Right. It's funny you say that. Like, you can hate on music for sounding the same, but there's a real art into playing with those genres. You've got, whether it's house or techno or dubstep or dub techno, there's a certain tempos that work. There's certain instrumentation that works. There's certain artwork sometimes that works. There's certain rules you got to play by, and by playing by those rules, it's kind of a fun challenge to stick within that genre, right?
Yeah.
So even though the stuff ends up sounding similar to other stuff, that's the goal in those genres.
Yeah.
And it's not just electronic music. Like look at like Swedish death metal. Like you've got to do certain things to be considered Swedish death metal,
definitely,
right?
definitely.
Or Norwegian black metal or whatever. Like those are all these subgenres.
Did you hear about that one death metal band from, I believe it was like Norway or Sweden or stuff, and they were doing like heavy research into the Catholic Church in order to write their lyrics, and they actually ended up converting because of the depth of their research to
Interesting.
Catholicism.
Wow.
Which is just the most ironic story I think I've ever heard. That they were literally reading in order to learn better ways to blaspheme.
Right.
And then went, oh wait,
This
this might actually be true. Darn. And then just
Yeah, that's pretty
converted.
cool. They did their research. I remember hearing something else like that, but I forget what it was.
Also, the crazy part is, I believe it's Norway, has the highest density of death metal bands in the world. And they actually have churches that will play death metal in their services because it will bring a draw of people because of the amount of people that listen to that genre
That's
in that
cool.
community.
That's really cool.
So I think if that's trying to connect with the people of your country, if that's not, I don't know what else is.
You don't know what else is.
So
yeah.
kudos to the religious people. I don't know what
You know
type
what's-
of religion it was, but
What else is interesting is countries and areas where the weather is cold, a lot of times you get really interesting musical genres and musical scenes come out of those areas, like Seattle in the early 90s.
Okay.
Cold and rainy. Iceland, cold and rainy. Norway, probably the same thing. A lot of these places, all there is to do is get together and start bands and stay out of the cold. So people tend to do that, whereas I guess, in warmer climates, it's harder to get a scene going like
we also
that.
write more angry music because we're all so tired of the cold.
Right. And gray skies, lack of sunshine,
Dubstep, death metal, death step,
death step. Is
It's
that
a thing.
Step.
Is it?
There's this one band in particular named Code Pandora. It's a single guy, but called Code Pandorum. And
Shout
it's
out to Code Pandora.
all the same imagery. He's got this like crazy mask, all the same like distorted letters and stuff, like in his imagery and stuff.
That's cool.
And it's next level blow your head off music, but it's pretty sick.
Wow.
It's very large in scope. Like,
Where is he from?
I've absolutely no idea.
No idea.
Yeah, so his music, check him out if you haven't heard of him. If you are into music that's a little bit scary, but
Are you?
scared? Yes,
into-
always.
Into music that's scary?
I feel like it depends on the time. Like, I grew up as like a metalhead, And so some people would consider that like aggressive, too much, a little bit scary.
Right.
And so I feel like there's certain areas of it that I'm like, yeah, this is heckin' tight. And so
Heckin' tight. No swearing so
tight.
far. We've
Hecka
been
tight.
really good.
hecka tight. Yes, sir.
I was a metalhead too, back in the day. I was into Metallica.
Ooh, nice. That's some classic
First 3 albums.
OG metal right there.
OG metal.
I was into like the next generation, so Slipknot, Disturbed, those guys.
Right. That's funny.
Quality music though. That's where I started playing guitar, of all places. Heavy metal.
What's your favorite Slipknot album?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Also, I can see the image in my head, but I forget what it's called.
I know nothing of Slipknot, but I guess you're going to say Iowa.
I don't know their album names. I just listen to singles, so like
Oh, okay.
And if you look up Slipknot, people also ask how many members of Slipknot have died. So I guess that's a
Oh.
common question people
The
want to know.
answer is 1 or 2. One for sure.
One for sure.
The bass player, I know he died. Rest in peace.
No, not Iowa. Actually, the Gray Chapter is the one that I first started listening to them on, which is one of their new albums, 2014.
Okay.
But-
I don't know. I'm trying to pretend I know something about
Quality
Slipknot.
album.
I don't.
And then I
They
started
wear
playing
masks
metal.
and all that.
Yeah, they're like kind of low-key scary dudes, not gonna lie. Not too deep, because then you get into like the death metal, black metal, and you get guys like Behemoth and those guys, and they're writing about like literally how to do like satanic rituals and stuff, and it gets a little bit actually scary when you get that deep. But so I never like got too deep into that music because I'd be listening to it and be like, I'm not even having a good time right now, like
Nice.
gonna get murdered.
Do you know what I've noticed about your generation?
We're scared a lot.
Is you say low key when you mean high key, or the you don't mean low key. When you say
Well,
low key
interesting.
scary, that means not low key scary at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've
Interesting.
noticed that. Are you Generation Z or are you a millennial? You're
Ooh.
Generation Z.
I'm the first generation
Yeah.
of Generation
Are you a
Z.
millennial,
I'm
Kenny?
millennial.
Okay,
You just slipped under.
I know.
that's crazy.
very
So
first
you
generation.
You two are This is a cross generational podcast.
We got 3 generations sitting
Yeah.
right
We
here.
certainly do. Thanks for pointing that out to our listeners. Christian, I
I didn't specify which one. I just said that you were a different
think it's
generation.
pretty obvious, right?
Generation old.
Oh.
Wow, shots are fired again. Once
Oh
again.
no.
Spoiler alert, I'm old.
That
Yeah.
was low key mean.
I might even be
That
like
might be high key.
2 generations. No, that's not.
Well, let's not calculate
Let's
this.
not
Right now
That's
they
not.
don't know, so
Well,
we'll
now
just
they know.
leave it in obscurity.
Okay,
You know, got to be safe on that manner. You know.
I love it.
So we've heard from a couple of our inside sources that you have a knack and understanding of conspiracy theories.
Now, you guys know me. I don't really go in for these conspiracy theories.
You believe they're just real theories.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I'm speaking here on my own. These are just my opinions. So we're not. I just want to make sure that nobody takes any of this the wrong way. No, I love conspiracy theories. I don't care if they're true or not. I just like a good story.
They're pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Whole
love them. I
Jar
love them
Jar
all.
theory.
I love every one of them. Obviously, some of them are batshit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
But then there's the batshit crazy ones that 5 years later we're like, oh,
Oh.
that was one of the true ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
What
happens.
is your favorite one right now?
My favorite one right now is so you gotta watch this movie called Above Majestic. Is it Above Majestic? Or Beyond Majestic?
I don't know.
think so.
Above Majestic. Watch Above Majestic. That's my favorite one so far.
I was gonna watch it before we did this episode, but I just haven't had time.
Did you know? Did I tell you
Yeah,
about
you
that
told.
before? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and again, these are not my theories here. These are this is a movie. So the idea with this is that you guys know about where's that place in Nevada where the aliens landed allegedly?
Oh, California.
Nevada. What's it called?
I don't know.
Area
I don't-
51.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's-
I didn't know that was in Nevada.
So let's pretend Area 51 happened. Who knows whether it did or not. That was like 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think we did with that technology since then? You think we just made a better brand of toothpaste?
Knowing
Come on, right?
knowing humans, yeah, we probably screwed it up, but
Exactly. Knowing
Yeah.
humans, right? We see a pretty flower. Oh, look at that pretty flower. And then somebody comes along and goes, I bet we could make that a weapon.
Yeah.
Right? Every
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
and now we have barbed wire. Boom, rose barbed wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call. Good.
Set.
Good connection you made there. What am I
Yeah.
looking for?
Thank
Metaphor.
you. I'm a professional.
But anyway, so this is the idea. The above majestic thing is the idea that. Have you ever seen those TV shows where it's like what Hitler was working on in World War II
Oh.
with the spaceships and stuff like that?
Have you? Yes.
Right?
Have you seen Love, Death, and Robots?
Oh man.
I have not.
There's an entire episode on theories about what would have happened and how it would have changed history if Hitler died in different ways.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
fantastic. Check it out. Check
It's
it
like
out. Definitely.
Probably like a 10-minute episode. It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check it out.
Oh, maybe I've seen that on the
It's
Netflix preview.
the series is great. It's like 18 shorts, all
fantastic.
animated by different people.
Okay, yeah. I think
If you're not comfortable with a hair of animated nudity, maybe don't check it out to all our audience out there.
Yes.
But
spoiler alert.
otherwise, yeah, it's sick.
But yeah.
So here comes another spoiler alert. So in the first few minutes of Above Majestic, which I think you're going to have to watch on like Putlocker or something because I don't think it's on Netflix or anything.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Gee, I wonder why that is. Everybody, I wonder why it's not on mainstream Netflix. No, it doesn't appear on Google. I wonder,
Come
I
on,
wonder
Trudeau.
which group of people might be preventing that. Allegedly. Anyway, but in the first few minutes of that, there's a picture of a Nazi submarine flying around the moon.
What?
Exactly. Right? That's what I said. So, allegedly, that what's that guy? The Einstein. That guy got
Hitler.
a hold. Yeah. That guy got a hold of some documents or got in with some aliens or something, and they gave him the plans to help elevate one of their submarines into outer space, and so they've been in outer space since before the. Moon landing, which we can get into. That's
Moon
a whole,
landing.
That's
We
a
had
whole
that on
separate
here.
podcast. You had that on there,
Oh,
right?
you know we gotta.
The alleged moon landing.
Didn't Red Hot Chili Peppers blow this whole thing open in their song Californication?
Did they really?
They talked about the moon landing.
No way.
Yeah. In verse 1, I believe. I don't know the song well enough to be able to pinpoint.
I was through with the Chili Peppers by then. I was team Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which was their Rick Rubin album from the 90s.
Oh, nice. I've never heard of it.
Great album.
Gotta check it out.
Yeah.
They are a fantastic band, though.
Yeah.
They are. Okay, here's my Red Hot Chili Peppers thing is, so most bands have, I mean, if they're popular, they have like an amazing career. Like you think of a band like U2, they were like these good kids from Ireland, and then they have a breakout album, and they just have this amazing career. The Red Hot Chili Peppers have had so far 3 careers that anybody would be proud to have, either any one of those careers. So the first round was their punk funk days, so their first few albums that were produced by George Clinton from Parliament Funkadelic. They were these punk rock funk dudes from
Interesting.
LA, and they had these like I think 4 albums in that zone, and they were great. Freaky Styly and whatever the other ones were called, and I kind of missed that version. In fact, that when I first moved to Vancouver, they had played a legendary gig at Celebrities where they were all naked with socks over their privates with Dayglow paint on under black light, and everybody said it was like one of the best shows of all time. Just missed it. But I got into them in the sort of grunge era. They're not grunge, but they did the album that they did with Garth, the Mother's Milk that he engineered.
Yeah. Nice.
And then the one with Rick Rubin, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and that is like their second career. So they were like one of the biggest alternative bands on the planet. It was like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They were destroying, right? But that was like secondary to their other career, and then later on they became this pop band, Californication
Yeah.
and Stadium Arcadium, where they were basically as big as U2. And so that was sort of their third career.
Just different genres from the same band.
Different genres from the same band,
Fantastic.
different levels of success. So the punk funk era, they were this underground band that everybody loved, but they didn't have any hits. Then when they worked with Rick Rubin, they had this really credible album that also had hits, Under the Bridge, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they became on people's radar. And then with the other albums after that, they were like,
Mainstream.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Super interesting. Never knew that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the history segment of the Unwind podcast.
Who would have thought the old guy would be taking us down memory lane?
Boom. Memory lane or learning lane?
Ooh, both.
Woke. It's
That was-
woke cast.
That was the most Sesame Street thing I've said in a long time.
I heard a couple of Sesame Street things you said today.
Yeah, that's
made it
because
better.
we're trying to appeal to all audiences,
Yeah.
including
It's well-rounded.
under 10-year-old children.
That's right.
So we got to
Everybody's
associate.
welcome on Unwind.
Oh, for sure,
Everyone.
for sure. Our next guest is going to be 8 years old. Don't quote me on that, but
Do you know any 8-year-old kids?
no.
We'll go to the park.
No, Kenny, you can't say things like that.
Welcome back to Unwind Podcast.
I'll just edit that right out right there.
I edited it.
Edited it.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I know. I did a bit of homework too. I listened to your episode with Dassy.
Dassy, yeah.
Love
So
it.
good.
Just to get a vibe for the Unwind podcast, hit us up at unwind.com. Is that what it is? What is your website?
Unwind with Chris and Kenny.
Yeah.
.com.
Unwindwithchrisandkenny.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's www. Is everybody
W
ready this down? With
Everyone's
the
ready?
W.
It's http://www, which stands
Yeah.
for World Wide Web.
Does it actually?
Dot.
Wow.
What is it?
Unwind with Chris and Kenny.
Unwindwithchrisandkenny.com /info. No.
We don't have backslash info. That's just the home. That'll take you right there.
There you go,
Yeah, see?
people.
Right
Beautiful.
there.
Once again, that's Sorry. Oh, that's cool. Is that Squarespace you're hosted on? What's that?
No.
Wix.
Wix.
Nice.
Check out Wix.
I'm Team Squarespace.
Team. Oh, I just couldn't get behind it.
Why not? They're the same.
Yeah, but I found Wix had a better design interface to be able to make me make my website quicker and easier.
Well, that's what I found about Squarespace.
Square up.
So I guess it's
Don't fight, you guys.
we got a little bit of a advertiser showdown to see who's going to back this podcast. Will it be Wix, the untalented people over at Wix, or will it be the far superior? Just kidding.
Wix already responded to us on Twitter.
Did
so
they really?
They
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
I'm sure they're great too.
They're very
I didn't
nice.
mean that. Wix. We can edit that part out. I was just allegiant to my house, Squarespace, which I think is great too.
We can all
And
just get along.
Can't we? Yeah. There
Yeah,
you go. There's,
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
room enough for
Unity.
everybody. Unity. What's the other ones? Squarespace, Wix, and Weebly. Shout out to Weebly.
Weebly.
I've never heard of Weebly before.
Now you have.
Boom. Maybe we'll move over there if they're
And,
good.
Well, now Weebly's a potential advertiser because we're
Set.
supporting
Yeah.
Weebly.com
Come on. Sponsor this episode, Weebly.
Come on, you
and
guys.
their fine products. And your stuff goes on YouTube too, as well.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Have you heard of this YouTube.com? People out there,
Dude, it's a new next big thing.
It's
this is what they tell me.
It's pretty good.
They're pretty close to having their first channel go over 100 million subscribers.
Wow.
So,
That's a lot of
waiting for that
people.
one. I'm excited for that one.
Hey, I got one for you guys. Another trip down memory lane. Surprise, surprise.
Boom.
Old guy. Hashtag old guy. Hashtag old money. Let's give him another beat first of all.
Your turn, Kenny.
I
Let's go.
don't know how.
Kenny.
You do.
Kenny.
Do you guys
I don't
watch?
have my kazoo.
That would be dope.
We brought kazoos for the first 5 episodes, and then it tapered off.
No, I'm spent. It's
Aw,
we had the moment.
We missed it.
We had the
Aw.
Sorry,
moment.
that was my fault.
You know, yeah.
I mean, I think we can all take the L on that one. guys. Come on.
On that.
Hey, I got a
Oh.
tangent question. Kenny, do you watch South Park?
I used to. I haven't watched it for a very long time.
Okay.
But yeah, Jeremiah always like, you killed Kenny. I'm just like, thanks. I got that a lot growing up.
No, Kenny. Yeah, I love that show.
Fantastic.
Oh, I was going to take you to trip down memory lane.
Memory
Yeah.
lane.
So Do you know that in 2007, the Time Magazine Person of the Year, I might be getting this wrong, but I think this is how it was. The Time Magazine Person of the Year, do you know who it was in 2007?
Obama.
It was YouTube and MySpace.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, and I think they had like a mirror on the cover, and it said, "You are the person of 2007." So YouTube was this new thing, and MySpace was this new thing. And could you imagine like how big YouTube got and how quickly MySpace
Yeah.
They still
failed?
sold MySpace for $1 billion, so they're not suffering.
And then about 2 years later, they sold it for $1 million to Timberlake.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Rupert Murdoch bought it for like $1 billion, and then Timberlake bought it a few years later for $1 million.
That hurts.
Ouch.
Yeah,
That hurts
not
a
for
lot.
Timberlake.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, not at
Pretty
all.
sweet. Do you know that Timberlake wrote "Ba-da-ba-ba-ba"? I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
Yeah,
Futch is
we were
the one that-
discussing. Didn't we talk
Futch-
about that?
Futch told me about
Ah,
that.
thanks,
yeah.
Futch.
Yeah.
We were discussing. Okay, so do you think that McDonald's approached Timberlake and was
Yes.
like, "We need a thing,"
Yes.
or was Timberlake just like chilling in the shower and hummed his thing? And was like, "You know what? You know who I need to, you know who I need to give this to?"
They said,
McDonald's.
what was the band he was in?
NSYNC.
NSYNC. They said, hey, you're really successful with this band NSYNC. We want you to write our audio logo. We'll give. I think they paid him $1 million or something.
That's rough.
I don't know where I'm pulling these numbers out. If anybody's
You know, knowing-
if anybody's checking the facts here, they're like, he's wrong about almost everything he says. Yeah, but you say it with confidence.
That's the
right?
Unwind
believe
podcast,
it.
pretty much.
That
Summed
is
up.
the Unwind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping with tradition on the
Nice.
Unwind
Thank you,
podcast.
thank you.
Anyway, I know I'm all over the place here, but I heard the Dassey podcast.
Yeah.
Daisy?
Dassey.
Dassey.
It's
Dassey.
like Cassie.
Okay.
Except not.
She's got a great voice.
Yeah.
She's got a great singing voice.
Yeah.
But you can tell with really great singers, she has a great speaking voice.
She
Yeah.
does.
Like if you'd
True.
never heard her sing, she's just like, "Hey, I'm Dassey." It's like, well, you should be a singer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She's great.
She's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
We're gonna get her on again with her whole band.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
How would you do that? You'd set them up in here with a bunch of instruments.
Oh, they just wouldn't get mics. They'd just be sitting here.
Okay. Just like a real band. Ew.
Oh.
The blurred out people in the background. I'm just kidding. You're all great people in that band.
Except for bass players. We're not
Every
kidding.
band.
No one. Unless you're Flea.
Hey, bass players are the glue that holds everything together. Do you know that bass players in a band are typically most likely to become record producers because they're already bridge the gap between the rhythm and the melody. And let's face it, the drummer and the guitar player are never going to get along or listen to each other. But the bass player like calms that down and understands both melody and rhythm and keeps the band together. And then when they tend to become record producers.
When somebody like looks at a chair, they're not like, "Wow, look at the glue that holds that together." They're like, "Wow,
You're
what a
right.
nice chair."
You're right.
You know?
But a good record producer goes unnoticed.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Well, on that gem of wisdom,
Great.
thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
No
Yeah,
worries.
Futch. Where can people find you?
In Studio B with a U87 plugged into number 3, is it?
2. No, you're 3. I lied.
I'm not on social media really because look what it does to people.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Definitely.
I was actually thinking about joining social media, but the more and more research I do, like Twitter is just a hate fest.
Twitter's very confusing.
Twitter's scary.
Twitter's terrible.
I also don't understand it.
Neither do I. I don't. It's like back in the day, the lead singer would have a microphone. Now everybody's got a microphone.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
too many microphones,
Straight up.
right? Anyway, you can find me at dystopiansoundscapes.com. All of my stuff is available for free everywhere. SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever. Just steal it. Don't buy it. Steal it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
100%.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for coming here and talking to us.
My pleasure.
It
Great.
was awesome. We should have you back on. And we'll do a whole episode on conspiracy theories.
Now, you know me. I don't really go in for these conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting good at
That's
saying that.
that's the section that we'll edit and then we'll put out so that people can hear it. So if the government's watching us, that they'll hear just that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got you. We got
Hey,
your
I
back.
got a question. What conspiracy theory do you guys like these days?
That
One
you're
that-
actually. What?
Avril Lavigne.
Oh, that's a legendary
That
conspiracy
one
theory.
is very interesting.
I like that one.
And she just came out with a new album.
Oh, her clone came up with a new album.
Her clone came out with a new album.
It's a good album.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
See, I love
So
these. They're
good.
great stories.
Yeah.
They're so good.
What about you? What's your favorite
Oh,
conspiracy theory?
Favorite
Alleged
conspiracy theory? That's a hard one.
It is, isn't it?
There's too many good ones.
There's so many good ones. I just learned of one today that apparently within like neutron stars, there's this thing that they're like weird something. They have a name. They're called
They're
strangelets, and that apparently when neutron stars blow up, they send these things everywhere, and they're like a zombie particle. So every time they touch a particle, they turn them into these strangelets. And so hypothetically, if a neutron star blew up and one of these like single specks of strangelet hit Earth, it could cause Earth to implode because they're like such a dense something, and it would just kill everything instantaneously.
So something to look forward to.
We had a good run.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
How many
straight up.
Billions of years.
Yeah.
How about the multiverse theory? Do you back that?
The thing is, the multiverse theory is in and of itself disproves itself, because in the multiverse theory, there's an alternate universe where it doesn't exist. And so if you think about that, there's a universe in which the multiverse theory doesn't exist, or there's a universe in which the multiverse theory doesn't work, which automatically means the multiverse theory cannot exist, because how can it exist if it is a paradox of itself?
Well, there you
Deep.
go.
He went deep, ladies and
He's
gentlemen.
thought about
Van
this.
Deepa.
Yeah, he's definitely thought about this. All of my multiverse theories, basically, the only research I've done is watching Rick and Morty. So I don't really.
What
I
a
don't know if
good
I-
show with such a weird fan base.
Great show. Pickle Rick was on last. Yeah, you're right. It's a weird fan base, but I'm a Rick and Morty fan. I'm not a crazy person like that. I mean, I'm a crazy person, but I'm not like that. Yeah, that's a great show. Oh, one more thing. What
One
about
more.
the
This is it.
theory that this is all just
A game.
a game for sure, or a simulation? The Elon Musk thing, where if you think that inevitably we'll be smart enough so that we can simulate our environment so that we can't tell the difference, why would we think we're not already there?
Yeah.
The Matrix theorem.
Sort of
Basically.
like that,
Yeah.
but just like the this is all just a projection or something.
If so, can we make it a bit better? And like, I could definitely go to not be so broke.
That's exactly what I was
Right.
going to say. Can we just up the money?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yo.
nice.
I got one more on that note to wrap her all
This is
up.
turning into a two episode podcast.
How about the theory that we are all a figment of someone's like brain or dream? Because if you look at how like brains work and certain elements of the brain, it very closely resembles what a universe looks like zoomed out.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So we are all a second figment of someone's mind, that all life has occurred within a fraction of a second in someone else's universe.
100. That's the so there's a theory that I like, and you can check it out at thelawof1.info. That's HTTP. It's that I don't want to get all deep and whatever, but there's one creator, let's say, and we are all just sparks and dreams of that one creator. So we're just the one thing experiencing itself as Kenny and Christian and Futch and the rest of you people too. But mostly us three. The rest of you play very minor roles in this whole thing. It's mostly a battle of wits between us three. It always has been and always will be.
Battle of the ages.
Yeah. And so far Kenny's winning.
Oh,
Congratulations, Kenny.
thank you.
I would argue, but I really can't. So
Anything
interesting.
else? Any
No,
other
I think
theories?
that about
That's it.
wraps it up.
Thanks
it.
everyone
again-
for listening.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on all our different social medias to get
Make
all
sure
our
to
different
follow
thoughts.
Futch.
Make sure to follow
Listen
Futch.
to his music.
We'll
Steal
tag
it.
Steal it. Steal this podcast too.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no need to sign up or pay
No,
for
I
anything.
don't listen to him. Definitely sign up on
no.
Patreon.
Don't
Support
give them
us.
any money on their Patreon. They don't need it. These guys told me they had a bag of cash when I walked in here, and I said, "Where'd you get that bag of cash?" And they said, "All these idiots on Patreon."
All
That's what they said.
It
All
was
of
just
them.
a bag of chocolate coins.
Oh well, yeah, okay.
honestly, I'd be
I'm
pretty
just kidding.
excited.
Do
about
whatever
that.
you need to do. Make your own financial decisions. Help them on Patreon. Don't do whatever you want.
Yeah, live your life.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Live your life. Make your own decisions.
You
What
live your
makes
life.
you feel good?
Support your local SPCA.
Yes.
Oh. So good. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.